Today on The Real Story, federal immigration agents in Hartford posing as police officers in their effort to nab an undocumented immigrant. Also this morning, how would you like not to anymore have to take bags filled with sticky, grimy bottles and cans back to the store to get a deposit back? Right now, lawmakers are considering 3 bottle bill proposals, including one that would do away with the deposit requirement. But you need to know more. It's all today on The Real Story. Well, thanks again very much for joining us here today on The Real Story. Connecticut is one of 11 states that have a bottle bill. Ours has been around for almost 4 decades now. They all operate under a system in which consumers pay a small deposit and then take the empty container to a redemption center to get back the deposit. But will lawmakers in Connecticut this year vote to get rid of that system? That's just one of the ideas for change, getting rid of deposits. Let's talk about that. Joining me now are State Representative Mary Muschinski. She is the Democrat of Wallingford, and Lou Birch from the Citizens Campaign for the Environment. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Representative Muschinski, this proposal to do away with deposit, how would that affect what happens out there in the real world, and how would it involve the environment? How would it impact the environment if we don't have a deposit?
Well, what the beverage industry has done is write a bill that shifts the responsibility from them onto the local taxpayer and the local consumer. Right now, the containers are worth 5 cents. So if somebody litters them in the parks or beaches or roads, someone else will pick them up and redeem them. And then the material is recycled and made into something new. For example, the soda bottles are made into fleece, and you could buy a jacket made out of it. The metal, aluminum is made into more cans.
So you're saying if we don't have the deposit, then these people who would pick up after the consumers who didn't bring them back won't be doing that, and then
That's
we're
right.
going to have stuff all over the place.
There's a whole subculture that picks up containers. In
Yes.
My town, there are sports
We've
teams.
seen them.
Yeah. There's sports teams, there's Boy Scouts, Girl
Yep,
Scouts.
that's right.
The seniors who want to pay their electric bill, they collect them.
That's true.
Church groups, and these people all bring the containers back and have bottle and can drives, fundraisers, and they're also keeping the community clean at the same time. Now, if the deposit goes away, the local taxpayer picks up the tab, because now the municipalities have to send out their DPW folks, and the state has to send out DOT crews, and they're picking up the containers because they're no longer worth anything.
Now, this bill that gets rid of the deposit, there is something else that happens too, isn't there? Some kind of fee that's added?
That's right.
And who pays that? The consumer?
That's right. So the new proposal would actually do away with that 5-cent deposit, and it would replace it with a non-refundable 4-cent tax that would fall on the consumer. Once again, it would eliminate the value that those cans and bottles have, and that value is the reason that we know that they'll get picked up off of the street, off of the beaches and open spaces when they get discarded improperly.
Now, we have curbside recycling, so wouldn't consumers, a lot of consumers are doing that now with non-deposit bottles.
They do, and about two-thirds of the beverages are consumed in the home, but then the other third are consumed on the road. You know, it's a fast-paced society. We take our containers with us and we jump in the car and head off, and so a third of these beverages are consumed on the way to work or on the way to recreation, in your car, and those are the ones that end up in the wrong place. And we'd like to collect all these containers back, recycle them to the highest and best use, keep them off the parks and beaches, keep the community clean, and the bill has worked very well to do that.
Now, Governor Malloy favors a proposal that would add another nickel to the deposit, make it 10 cents on each container, and now that would really make the people who don't recycle on their own go around and pick them up. So that wouldn't that help the environment? I mean, it wouldn't help pocketbooks by having to pay another nickel for a bottle or can.
It would definitely up the recycle rate and the redemption rate. In the states that have a 10-cent deposit, it's definitely a higher rate than what we have.
There are states that already have a 10-cent deposit.
10 cent. Yes, some of the states have already modernized their fees, their deposits, and we have not. So we have the old fee structure, deposit structure.
Now, there's a third proposal. So we've talked about the one that would eliminate the deposit and add this 4-cent fee. and we've talked about the one that would raise the deposit to 10 cents. There's another one that would hit the redemption centers with something?
No, it would give the redemption
more
centers
money.
a raise. Yeah, they haven't had a raise in almost 40 years, and they do.
Now, how would that help?
Well, it's hard.
Or would it help?
If you hadn't had a raise in 40 years, it would be really hard to pay your electric bill, your gas bill, whatever. And these folks haven't had a raise in the redemption fee. There's a fee that they get for handling the containers and sorting them, and they haven't had a raise. So they're having trouble staying in the system. And they and the distributors, the beer and soda wholesalers, both deserve a raise. And so the bill should be updated to give these folks a raise, but not eliminated.
And I think that's a really important point that you bring up as well, because the bottle deposit system that we have in Connecticut supports something like 500 to 600 jobs throughout the state. There are 21 different redemption centers throughout the state of Connecticut, including in Hartford, Wallingford, Bristol, South Windsor, and a number of other towns that would go away if this bottle deposit system was repealed. Not to mention the fact that we have Tomra in Shelton, and we have Envipco in Naugatuck, and those are actually the manufacturers of the reverse vending machines that
Which
actually
is what
collect.
we put the things in when we go back to get our deposits. Yeah.
Absolutely right. And they do business throughout the United States, and so it's not unreasonable to think that if this program went away, they may be looking for other places to have their headquarter offices.
So which of these three bills, if any, are you guys in favor of?
Well, I would keep the deposit law. I would change the handling fee. I would give a portion of the unclaimed deposits to the distributors so that each of the people in the chain gets a piece of the money for handling these containers and putting them back into recycling. That's what I would do.
And let's not forget the most important part of this, and the whole reason why we have it in the first place is to improve recycling. CCE supports actually expanding the current system to include all of the different kinds of non-carbonated beverages, iced teas, soft drinks that aren't currently covered by the system. We would actually, and we have research that shows that we could actually increase the number of containers that we collect, and as well as the proceeds to the state by something like $5 million a year.
Yes, because any unclaimed, it goes back to the state. So what does the state get out of that? And maybe is that why the governor's maybe proposing doubling the deposits?
Yeah, it is. He's
looking for money wherever he can get it.
He's anticipating additional S sheets to the state because it's another 193 containers if we add those additional products.
That's right.
So you collect the unclaimed nickels from those, and you can actually help the budget too.
That's 193 million containers.
That's a lot of bottles and cans with our deficit.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both, Representative Mashinsky, Mr. Birch,
thank you
for being here on The Real Story.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, and we do thank you for watching this week's edition of The Real Story. We'll be here for you again next week. And don't forget, if you missed something on The Real Story, you missed the whole program, you can now watch it online. Just go to fox61.com. See you next week. Have a great day.